So today we will be presenting on argumentation. But first of all, what is an argument?
An argument is a reasoned attempt to convince the audience to accept a particular point of view about a debatable topic, and it should not be based on your emotion, but you should make others believe your position and accept your logic and evidence.
Now, what is an argumentative essay?
Well, an argumentative essay is a piece of writing meant to persuade someone to think the way you do.
In writing, we also need to take into account what is a fallacy. So, a fallacy is a display of faulty reasoning, which must hence be avoided in writing. Logic is a formal system of analysis that helps writers invent, demonstrate, and prove their arguments. In an argumentative essay, there are four main elements. Firstly, the position, which is the side the author is on.
Secondly, reason, why author believe the way he or she does.
Thirdly, evidence, which are the facts and data that supports the reasons.
And lastly, and most importantly, the counter-arguments, which are the reasons why the other side's argument are not correct. When developing an argumentative essay, one of the techniques that can be used is arguing ideas logically. To convince your readers, you must provide sufficient reasons for your position. These must be more than just opinions and be based on logical arguments.
This can be done by giving examples, present comparison and contrast, show case and effect relationship, and argue by definition.
Some writers use emotional appeals, which are used to persuade people by playing on their feelings rather than appealing to their intellect. This causes the audience to become distracted or misled. At times, it can be used effectively, especially when dealing with ethical issues.
Now we have a sample paragraph about this technique. As we mentioned before, the piece must be logical by providing evidence. As you can see in this paragraph, there is an in-text citation to prove that these are actual facts. You must outline the significance of your evidence provided in an analysis to show why you choose these evidence, these facts, and to support your argument. You will also ensure that you use appropriate transitions. When we think of an argument, the first thing we think about is winners and losers. But the second technique involves the Rogerian technique, which is a conflict-solving technique based on finding common ground. It was developed by the psychologist Carl Rogers, which he termed to be a non-threatening argument. He believed that people in a debate should strive for clear, honest communication so that the problem can easily be resolved. Instead of being defensive and trying to win the argument, each side should try to recognize common grounds and develop a solution that will address needs of both parties.
Rogerian argument uses these techniques. 1. Is clear objective, statement of the problem or issue. 2. Clear objective, summary of opposition's position that show you understand its point of view. 3. Clear objective summary for your point of view, stated in a non-threatening language.
4. Discussion that emphasizes the beliefs, values, and goals that you and your opposition have in common. 5. Description of any of your points that you are willing to concede or compromise. And 6. Explanation of a plan or proposed solution that meets the needs of both sides. By showing your position that you understand your position and that you sincerely want to effect a solution that is in everyone's best interest, you can succeed with your argument. When forming a Rogerian argument, there are 4 parts, and they are the introduction, where the problem is stated, pointing out how both the writer and the reader are affected by the problem, but not beginning with the writer's position. Secondary, statement of the audience's current stance, the reader's perceived point of view on the problem. The explanation of the speaker's stance. In this, the writer then presents fairly and accurately his or her own perspective on the problem.
The conclusion is where the speaker highlights the compromise made by the speaker and the benefits of changing viewpoints. The essay closes not by asking the reader to give up their positions on the problem, but by showing how the reader would benefit from moving towards the writer's position.
You should take into consideration
Knowing your audience, avoiding negative language, avoiding controversial side topics, maintaining a neutral tone when stating your viewpoint.
Now we have an example to display how this technique is being used. In the introduction, we can clearly identify the problem to be the volunteer shortage with the PTA. We can also identify that the speaker is a teacher named Mrs. Maples. The audience is also seen to be the PTA. We can also acknowledge that there is an existing relationship between both. Later in the piece, we can also understand that the teacher wants the PTA to form a partnership with a student group. Finally, in the conclusion, it is pointed out the potential difficulties, with the teacher asking to look past the challenges by seeing the benefits for both the event and the students. This was all done in a non-confrontational manner, ending on a positive note. Before watching this video, you would have thought of an argument as a heated discussion between rivals. Now you know that it is also referring to an attempt to convince someone of something.
So, to recap, the first technique of arguing ideas logically involves using factual evidence to prove your argument.
The second technique, the Rogerian technique, involves finding common ground to resolve the problem in a non-threatening way.
Now it's time to quiz you to see what you have learned. We have a sample paragraph in which you need to figure out its different parts and which technique is being used and how.
Now let's go over the paragraph. The sentence in red is the hook because it makes you interested about what will be discussed in the essay.
The sentence in yellow is a problem or issue that two sides can argue over.
The sentence in green is the background information where both the writer and the reader's point of view is stated.
The last sentence in purple is the proposed solution to the problem. With all this said, we can tell that this follows the Rogerian technique. This paragraph can then be developed, focusing on one side of the argument, then the other side. It is highly likely for the writer to focus on the opposition side first, followed by his own view.
So, what is the main purpose of an argument? The main purpose for an argument is to make others believe your position and accept it. What are the parts of a Rogerian argument? The four parts of a Rogerian argument are the introduction, the audience's point of view, the speaker's point of view, and the conclusion. What is the most important element of an argumentative essay and why? The most important element of an argumentative essay is the counter-argument. This is because you acknowledge your opponent's position and give the reasons why they are incorrect.
If you need any further clarifications, we have provided a list of references which we have used. So today we will be presenting on argumentation. But